Hello everybody, this is Kyle Krueger, part of Krueger with a Dot, and today I have an interview segment today. And for this episode of the podcast, I'm going to interview a cosplayer. And his name... What's your name?
I am Micah Popp, and I run Micah Popp Cosplay. Hello everybody.
Hello. I think everybody said hello. Alright, so what characters do you cosplay as?
Well, I've actually been cosplaying for a while, and I have a ton of characters that I have cosplayed, but mostly right now I've been cosplaying Jean Arc from Ruby, Waluigi from the Mario Brothers series, and I've also been doing Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I have a few others down the road too, but those are the ones I'm mostly doing right now.
Alright. Okay, so why do you like these characters? Like, explain those three characters, why you like them, why you cosplay as them.
Well, each character has a different reason, and I would say, I guess, starting out with Jean, I feel like I really like Jean because I kind of relate to him in a sense. When I was first watching Ruby, I kind of saw him, and I didn't really think much of him. He's like, the goofy character. He's kind of out there. He's like, the joke guy. And I didn't like that at first, but then my friend's like, Micah, you'd be perfect as Jean, you're so goofy. I'm like, no. The more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I guess I kind of am. And so I just kind of was like, okay, so I'll cosplay Jean, and I love cosplaying Jean. He's one of my favorite characters to cosplay. And so for him, I just kind of really relate to that character type. It's always being goofy and kind of, the joke character in some ways. Which I guess that's also the reason why I like to cosplay Waluigi. He's really just kind of a fun character to be stupid with. And for him, it's even more so like I can run around and be obnoxious, but like people love it. I'm like, yeah, it's Waluigi. Oh yeah. But and so I feel like for him again is just I love getting into character for whoever I cosplay, so when I can cosplay a really fun character, it's really fun. And then for Dio Brando, it's actually a little bit different. So, the reason why I like to cosplay Dio is because I feel like he's one of those characters I feel like I shouldn't be cosplaying. Because, like I said, the reason why I cosplay the first two is because I really am goofy. I get into character, I'm fun. But Dio is not a goofy character, and I feel like I've always kind of felt internally, oh, Micah, you're not this big, serious, bad guy, and even though you like those characters, that's not you, so you shouldn't cosplay them. And I think it actually was recently, I was talking to one of my friends, and they were just like, hey, cosplay isn't about just being one thing, cosplay is about being whoever you want to be. And I feel like I finally got the self-confidence to say, you know what, I may not be this type of person in real life, but I want to portray this. And so that's what kind of really set me off, is like, yeah, let's do it. And I debuted him at MetroCon 2007, 2017, just this one we had. And for those who don't know, MetroCon is a Florida convention in Tampa. Anyways, I debuted him there, and I loved it so much. It was so great to be somebody different than I'm used to being. And it was just, so it was a great experience being all three of them, and for different reasons, I love cosplaying them.
That's an awesome answer, dude. Okay, so, do you have any favorite shows other than Ruby or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Oh, goodness. Well, let me think about that. Goodness. I love anime in general. There's a lot of animes I've been watching. I don't know if there's... Okay, here's one. I feel like everyone's going to judge me for this, but I've been really, really, really into Naruto again, which, that was kind of one of those shows that, like, you watch when you first get into anime, and I had not touched Naruto since 2008, the longest time.
I think it's good, but it's pretty problematic. It's one of those animes where I think it's good, but it just has a lot of flaws that kind of drag it down.
It absolutely does, but I don't know. I guess it's probably the nostalgia factor for me that I've just been binging it recently, just through Netflix.
Yeah. Right. So one of my favorite anime is Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah. I heard a lot about that one.
I actually met the guy who voiced Spike Spiegel, Steve Bloom.
Really? Oh, that's pretty cool.
He's a really nice dude, and I hope I work with him one day because I want to be a voice actor and all that stuff. Yeah. So, one of the things that interests me about so did you know that Waluigi debuted in Mario Tennis, the N64 version?
Yes, I actually did know that, and I actually, whenever I cosplay him, I carry around a tennis racket with me, and it's fun.
I feel like Waluigi should have his own game.
I think you're right about that one. The only game that has him is a fan game called Psycho Waluigi, which is pretty lit.
I heard great things about the game. The thing is with Waluigi, what I like about him is that he's much like. We can make a debate about if him and Wario are best friends, cousins, or brothers.
Yeah,
that's a debate.
I know. I've always kind of saw them as, I don't know. I can't see them as brothers. Like, I feel like that was the intention, but I can't see them as brothers.
Cousins?
I'm thinking more just like best friends, partners in crime. I don't know. It's just like I feel like Nintendo needs to be a little bit more clear on that. Which I guess, of course, a Waluigi game would do, but.
Well, the thing with Waluigi I like is that he's very muchly like he's different than Wario. Like with Wario, like he's greedy and maybe like he's a little more self-centered. While Waluigi, like he's self-centered, but I think he's more into pranks and other stuff.
Yeah, he's more interested in just, I don't know, kind of harassing people and being the bad guy and just being bad. And
do you have a favorite Waluigi moment?
Oh gosh, you mean all of them? I think probably my favorite portrayal of Waluigi actually is in a webcomic called Brawl in the Family, and it's just so funny because they're always like, "Oh yeah, Waluigi time!" And it's just like the end, like it's like a hand-drawn webcomic or thing. But like every time he draws Waluigi, it's like completely off style. Everything's erratic. Everything's drawn gross, and it's beautiful. I love it so much.
All right, that is one of I love one of the things I like about like Waluigi is that I like his color scheme. I just like his look. I think he's a very unique character.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also wanted to ask you what's it like being a cosplayer? Like, is there a lot of like sacrifices to that?
You know, it's a give and take being a cosplayer. I've actually been a cosplayer for over 10 years now. My first time cosplaying was in 2007 as Naruto. And things have really changed from when I started and where I am now. When I started, it was kind of like, I borrowed some pants from a friend for Naruto. I borrowed the jacket. Actually, the jacket was a gift to me. That was a surprise. But just like everything I had was kind of like given to me. And I feel like I was kind of that way for a few costumes, but then I started making them, and that became a challenge in itself. And I really feel like cosplayers are so dedicated to their costumes. And I didn't understand that for the longest time because it's like you have to put so much work and so much effort into this costume. And for me, for the longest time, that was the chore part. I never liked doing that. I always wanted to be, give me the costume, I'll just be in character. That'll be me cosplaying. And I know everybody has their different reasons for cosplaying. But I mean, I think one good example is I used to cosplay Russia from Italia back in the day. And I tried to impress myself by making his jacket from scratch with no pattern. Mind you, this was also only after a few years sewing experience of making a few things every so often. So this was a way too big undertaking. Anyways, long story short, I finish it, and it is the worst jacket you've ever seen. And I was just like so...
It can't be that bad. I've done worse.
It was pretty bad. When you have to finish it with your friends at 2 a.m. with hot glue and you're done with it, then it's pretty bad.
So, all right. So, one of the things I like about you and why I wanted to be friends with you is that it's just I feel like you have this cool passion. You know.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I really do feel like, especially recently with cosplay too, just like it has become a passion. I really feel that I have gotten into it in the past year or so. I really got heavily into it, and I'm really wanting to enjoy it more, and not just be like, oh, it's a weird thing, but I want to reach to people that are other cosplayers and reach out to people that are into fandom things, and to be there and, just kind of make friends now. I wasn't making friends before, but now I'm trying to make friends and reach out to people.
That's great. So one of the things about a Ruby I like is its characters, and because I like Ruby, I created my own character.
Yeah, you were telling me about that last night.
Right. Like I said, his name's Derek. He's like I said, this is the part where we talk about something Ruby related, because I want to get to know more of stuff, and I also want to talk and
Yeah.
So, like I said, Derek is very much a young kid. Went through a lot of crap in his life, from a lot. The thing with Derek is that he lost people, a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's been rejected by people, and he develops this anger issue. Where he feels like nobody cares about him, nobody gives a crap about him, so...
Yeah. I feel like that's definitely relatable for a lot of people, sometimes, but...
Right, and when he loses his friends, on the same day, when he loses his friends from 3 people that, that like to kill people... He felt like it was his it was his fault, because and he also felt like he survived it, so he has survivor's guilt, and now he has his parents rejected him, and now he has nobody there for him except Winter, who is now his guardian, but that's a different story. And the thing with Derek is that he has an anger issue, like I said, but the difference between it is that his anger comes from rejection and losing people.
Yeah.
To be honestly fair, he has a hard time trusting Wise, because Wise did give up on him. And so the story is basically Wise trying to earn Derek's trust, while Derek needs to learn about forgiveness.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a bad story. Me and my friend from fanfiction.net talk about it. So one of the things... So, I think the reason I like John... he's not my favorite character. Yang is that honor, but the reason I like John is that I think he's very relatable. He's into this situation where... he can't, he has a heart, he's new at something, but he learns quickly, and, I think that's the reason why I can relate to him.
Yeah. I feel like that's definitely kind of the whole thing with him, too, and it's kind of watching him grow up, too, is kind of a big part, I feel like, of Ruby in life, and just kind of, while he grows up, I feel like we as people can sometimes relate to wow, we've been there, we can relate to growing up the same way he's grown up. Not necessarily having the combat sequences that he has, but I mean, in life sometimes I feel like we all go through what he's gone through.
I also feel like, I feel like John cares about people, he understands compassion and other stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And another thing about Ruby is that it just has this wonderful character development, and it knows when to take time with it.
Yeah, no, I think Rooster Teeth did an amazing job with their characters and who they are, and everybody's kind of a different person, and everyone has their own different personality and everything. and just kind of, especially with the fall of Beacon and where they are now with the Vol 5, Vol 4, just how they've developed from the beginning, just starting out in Beacon and then ending up now. It's just, there's such a smooth transition. I feel like Rooster Teeth has done an amazing job with that.
So, like I said, like, people change. Well, like you said, like, the characters that from season 1 are different from how they are.
Yeah.
And see the thing is, like, sorry to bring up my Derek story again. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, absolutely continue.
Like, Derek, like, the reason why he doesn't forgive Wise, other than Wise giving up on her, is that he feels like everything, like, it's definitely giving up, but he doesn't give Wise a chance. He feels like Wise has done absolutely nothing to earn people's respect. He feels like Wise is given everything. He feels like he thinks Wise is that spoiled brat character from season 1, and you know, it's hard for a brother to trust a sister, especially when that sister gives up on him a few years ago.
Yeah.
And like Derek and like Winter, since he takes care of Derek now, she's kind of this guidance to Derek. Like, she tries to tell Derek that you gotta forgive her. She's not the same person, but Winter has to trust Derek to do the decision of forgiveness.
Yeah. It sounds like... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, what you said?
I was just gonna say, it sounds like you definitely have some dynamics going there.
And there's a scene where Derek and Wise, like, have this argument, and, like, I'm gonna save Derek's, like, loss of his friends with a different story. Like, he lost 4 best friends on the same day. Not the same day when Beacon fought, like, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. And to be honestly fair, like, Derek, like, he scolds Wise a lot, and he says this, you know what? You don't work anything at all. You're given everything you want, and like always, you think you deserve it. You want to know what I have to work for? Let's see here. I have to work for to be a better person. What have you done? Oh wait, that's right, nothing. You have done absolutely nothing with your life other than complain and whine. You want to know what I've been through? I have been through a lot of hell. So don't tell me you relate to me, because I don't. And then there's like this scene where Derek scolds her for something else, and here's this. Oh really? At least I didn't blame a race of people for why Dad hates me. Oh wait, that's you. My Dad hates us because he doesn't care about us. So don't blame a race of people. Oh wait, that's right. Because since you're so goddamn stupid, you did that. So here's a good idea, Wise. Why don't you stop blaming people and actually realize the answer?
Yeah, sounds like he definitely has a lot of
animosity
in his life and everything. Animosity, exactly.
And you don't blame him, but he just needs to realize Wise isn't the same person.
Yeah.
Like, and all. So, what do you like about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Like, I couldn't get into it. Like, it's not because I hate it, but it's because I just couldn't get into it.
JoJo is such an interesting series. It's really... I feel like it's, again, kind of the same thing with Ruby. It's like you really kind of watch as people progress. I feel in some ways because you start out with kind of like the whole Jonathan Joestar, which is kind of like the grandfather of everybody. It's like you go down the different lines and see the family grow and family tree and everything. But what I love about JoJo is that it has a really nice combination of interesting, like funny, weird, interesting, and like action and comedy. Like it's like this weird, bizarre adventure, if I could go so far to say. But I really, like, I think, like I said, the character is different. Like, Jonathan Joestar is the first one. He's kind of very serious and gentlemanly, and he wants to do everything by the book. But then, with part 2, with Joseph Joestar, his grandson, it's the exact opposite. He isn't a gentleman. He's everything that his grandfather is not, and it just kind of puts a weird, funny dynamic between everything. And I feel like they just find themselves in these hilarious situations that, if you look at them from the outside in, it's like, wow, that's really weird. That's funny. But, like, they take them so seriously, and they take these really random events, and they just blow them up to these gargantuan, colossal happenings that only an anime could portray, and they just take it with, like, the utmost seriosity, I guess, if that's even a word. And it's just kind of a weird, fun dynamic that they play with, and it's just, I don't know, I really like it, and there's so much creativity, I feel like, that goes into JoJo. And it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things that I just kind of attach myself to. I just find it really entertaining.
Do you have any cool con stories?
Oh, let me think. Well, there was one. Well, actually, it was one of my first time cosplaying Jean. Not the first time, but one of the first times. It was ShadowCon 2016. I was hanging around with some of my friends and whatever, and I ran into Kiss's cosplay, who was cosplaying Yang. She does a lot of Yang. She's pretty big with her Yang.
I talked to her. She's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, she's great. She's such a sweetheart too. Anyways, so I ran into her group, and it was her and her boyfriend, who was Crow, and her friend Callie, who was Ruby, I think. Anyways, so I ran into them. I was like, oh hey, you guys are great. You look fantastic. And they're like, oh, thanks, you too. And I can't remember the story events, but they pretty much was like, hey, Jean, you want to totally just do a cosplay contest with us? I was like, I didn't sign up for anything. It's like, oh, that's fine. We'll sneak you in there. We'll get you in there. And they pull me on stage, and it's like all five of us just randomly doing the costume contest. And it was just like so out of the hat. It was a great experience. It was so much fun. And it was just so funny just because they just kind of almost pulled me out of the con just randomly. But so that was a fun time.
Have you ever met a voice actor?
Actually, yeah. I was Omni Expo 2014. I met John Patrick Lowry and Ellen McLean, who are the voices and actors of the Sniper, and GLaDOS, who's also the announcer from Team Fortress 2 and Portal.
I met a lot of voice actors, and to be honestly fair, it's not easy. Like, it's more like you feel like you're so excited and you're so like happy, but you just don't want to make an ass of yourself, you know?
Yeah, I feel that.
Like, I get so embarrassed. Like, like for example, like my favorite voice actor is Laura Jo Miller. If you're a Digimon fan, you better know her as the original voice for Kari from Digimon. Yep. She's also Juniper Lee from the Lifetime Juniper Lee. By the way, underrated series, very good underrated series.
I'll have to check it out. I remember seeing it on TV, but I never actually watched it.
It's a very good series. It has a lot. It has a lot of elements. It was created by Judd Wickren. He's a comic book writer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then it sounds good. I mean, like, I've heard good reviews about it.
It's just amazing, and I write to her, and you know, she appreciates it, and you know, it's just I want to meet her in real life, but it's just so hard, and it's just so it's like I don't want to embarrass myself. It's just
yeah. You know, I get that. I feel like that's with any kind of celebrity. It's like, wow, this person's really cool, and it's like you don't want to ever show yourself as kind of somebody who's kind of not as cool as they are, and so you always there's always a nervousness. But voice actors, all the ones I've met, and that's not saying much, but some people in general, they're usually really sweet when you come up and you're a big fan and stuff. And
if I had fans, I would love every one of them because I just love having fans. You know, they're my biggest supporters. Like I don't know if I have fans or not, but I hope I have a big supporting.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I remember one time being told when I was doing some stage a long time ago, the director we were talking about fans and being famous and stuff, and she said to me, "Is like, you know, Micah, it comes down to it that eventually your biggest fans are actually your family and your friends. They're the ones that are always there for you, and like, when you get married, it'll be your wife. She'll be your biggest fans because like she's the one that actually knows the real you, and they're the ones that are always taking care of you. And it's like, and that's kind of hit me. I was like, wow, I was like, that's true, because those are my fans too. So that's something I always stuck with me, as you said.
Well, I had a lot of great experiences. I met a lot of great people when I go to conventions. Sometimes it's hard to be sociable in a convention, though, because sometimes you just don't want to embarrass yourself, and you don't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable, because if you do, then people would see you as uncomfortable.
Yeah. I feel like, one thing I've learned about cosplay, too, is that embarrassing yourself is probably going to happen regardless. So just kind of embrace it. Because I remember when I first started, it was very weird walking around to the convention in cosplay. You get all this kind of like the side eyes and the looks. And I'm sure you've been there too, if you cosplay.
I did cosplay. In fact, I only cosplay as one character. You better know him. His name's Fred from Big Hero 6.
Oh goodness, is he? I saw that movie like twice. I'm sorry. Is he the one that's in the mascot costume?
Yeah, he's always in the mascot costume. It's just that it's not easy cosplaying as Fred, because I used to have long hair, but now I don't.
Oh yeah.
To be honest,
Well, you can always get a wig. I mean, Art of Wigs has some nice stuff.
I tried a wig once. It was itchy.
I feel that too.
It's just that I want to, but I can't because I don't want to get itchy.
That makes sense, and I feel like sometimes being in cosplay is being uncomfortable for the sake of looking good.
But I get what you mean. Like, being embarrassed, like, you gotta take it. But sometimes it's hard to, because you just don't want to. I will admit that I did have some experiences at a convention. You're gonna like this one. Oh, man. One time, I accidentally embarrassed myself.
What happened?
Well, I was 15 years old. Naive, impressionable, and somewhat hyper. Yeah, I'm just describing how I used to be when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
One time I love this show called Teen Titans, not the crappy Teen Titans Go, the original one.
Oh yeah, the original, yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to bring it back, so I brought a camera. I got it for Christmas, and I asked a bunch of fans if they want the original show back, and some volunteer and some didn't, and I accidentally annoyed a bunch of people. Yeah, not my best moment.
Oh.
Some people.
Yeah.
A dude had to tell me, like, outside of the convention when I was, like, eating. He was a good person. He had to be honest with me. And if I ever met that person, I would thank him. And I would say to him, if you weren't going to say anything, somebody else was going to. And it was going to be a lot worse.
Yeah.
I was...
Yeah, no... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I know that feeling, and I guess the only way to go through that is just to learn from your experiences. I had a really embarrassing story similar to that. If you don't mind me telling it really quick.
It's okay, man. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was MetroCon 2008. I was cosplaying Noitora from Bleach. She's one of the lesser known characters. But anyways, but Zelda had just come out, and Twilight Princess just came out. And I really liked Midna and everything. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna find a Midna cosplayer and I'm gonna befriend her and everything. And this is also the time that glomping had just become a thing too.
Glomping? What's that?
Glomping is when you find somebody that you like, and then you squeal, and then you jump on them, which is not a good thing when you're in cosplay. And I was 14, so I didn't know better. So anyways, I find this Midna cosplayer. God bless this girl now, wherever she is. And I don't want to... I want to... I want to make sure she doesn't see me when I'm coming up, so I kind of nonchalantly walk past. And then as soon as I get close enough, I just, boom, I jump on her. And she's like, what are you doing? Get off me, get off me. And oh, it was so embarrassing, and I felt so awful. And she just sat there scolding me, yelling at me like how her body paint wasn't even sealed, and I was wearing white, and there's this other Bleach cosplayer that was also there, kind of like, oh yeah, man, you can't do that. It was in the cosplay contest waiting room, and everybody was looking at me, and it was so uncomfortable. Oh, and that's one of my least favorite memories of cosplaying ever. I hated that so much. Actually, that was just a whole bad year in general, to be honest.
Was it hard? Was it hard to go to another convention?
Not really. I mean, it was. I was worried because that was only my second convention, but I still had the first one that kind of fell back. I was like, okay, conventions are fun. That was good. What I definitely learned what not to do when you're in cosplay meeting other people. But
dude,
it was thankfully the following convention after that was 1,000 times better, and I didn't have to I never did it again. I have not bumped anyone since, at least without consent.
Oh, dude, at least you didn't at least you just annoyed one person. I accidentally annoyed a lot of people.
Yeah, no, that's not funny there.
And now I get reminded of it. Now, when I remind myself, it's not because I beat myself up. It's because I have to remind myself, like, don't do it, and it sucks, but you just gotta deal with it.
Yeah. And again, it's like one of the things you learn from what you've done wrong before, and you learn from your mistakes, and hopefully the next time it's like, hey, I'm gonna do it better this time.
Oh man, like, to be honestly fair, conventions, conventions help people to be more sociable.
They really do, though. Like, honestly, I've heard so many people talk to me saying that, I've learned how to make friends at conventions, and wow, I feel like I've really gotten out of my shell, and there's so much that people can learn about. Otherwise, like, people that, like, are very shy and kind of sheltered, if they get into cosplay, they really can express themselves and really put themselves out there, and it's a great thing. Like, honestly, I feel like cosplay is probably one of the best things for many people's lives. Like, I feel like my life included, I've made... there's actually, a year ago or so, I should say, and this is going into another story. I have a lot of stories, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Anyways, no, back a year ago or so, I actually had gotten out of a relationship, a long-standing relationship, and I realized after that I had no friends. And so I was kind of thinking, like, gosh, how do I make friends again? And I had like one friend that I was friends with for 10 years or whatever, but I really didn't have anyone I was talking to. And so I was like, you know what? And that was actually right around I started watching RWBY. That was pretty much the exact same time I started watching RWBY. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to cosplay Jean. Just because I need to get out there, I need to make friends, and I need to meet people again. And it was actually cosplaying Jean. I went to one of the RWBY showings in theaters. It was Volume 3 right before Volume 4 came out. And I went there, and I remember there's a lot of cool RWBY cosplayers there. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go sit next to them. I've never met them before, but I'm gonna go sit next to them. And it was doing that, and I actually kind of put myself out there and was able to make friends. And it, honestly, from that point on, I just have not stopped making more and more friends, and it is the biggest blessing in such a long time. And I have cosplay to thank for that.
That's awesome, dude. I will admit, I wish I can cosplay more. I also feel like there's a lot of people in this world that need to know more about cosplay, because it's a really cool thing. And
yeah. And I feel like for cosplay, a lot of people get intimidated by it. It's like, oh man, I don't really look like this character, or I don't feel like I relate to, or I would be able to do a good job portraying this person. But you know what? One thing I've learned as well is that cosplay is for everybody, and that it's not about looking perfect and acting exactly how the character would act. It's more about dressing up as somebody you love and admire and just having fun. And I would tell all my cosplay friends too, when they're getting stressed out about making their stuff and having everything perfect. It's like, listen, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to just be who you are. And if you don't have the shoes, or you don't have the wig, or if you don't have whatever, just go, have fun, and be in cosplay. Meet friends, be nerds, because that's what we all are at the end of the day. We're all nerds, but we're having the greatest time. And so I guess that's my little advice to all your listeners.
All right.
So cosplay is just one of the things that it's so much fun. And that I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna, nothing, you continue.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, this is like, I just want to encourage everybody, just, if you want to cosplay, just do it. Have fun with it. Don't worry about how you look, because it's not about looks, it's about having fun.
Right. I'm going to admit something to you right about now, that that bad experience I had was in my second convention, so we kind of have something in common, that our second convention wasn't the best experience in the world.
Yeah. And unfortunately, not every con can be the best con ever, but, I mean, it's a give and a take sometimes, like I said earlier.
Right, but I want to say to everybody, like, take his advice, and take his advice forward.
Do it. Cosplay. Do the thing.
Well, I'm glad I interviewed you, and I hope you have a great day, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. This is such a blessing for me today.
All right.
And I hope you have a great day today, too.
All right. This is Krueger with a dot, everybody, so have a good day, and bye.